Hi, welcome to my channel, The Monarch Witch. On this channel, we take inspiration from the monarch butterfly because just like the butterfly, our spiritual purpose is also to grow and transform. We talk about eclectic witchcraft and all things spiritual to help you on your journey. So today's topic is whether witchcraft is evil or not. And I've chosen to speak on this topic because I've seen an increase of the videos online talking about negative experiences and saying because of those negative experiences that witchcraft is evil. So I'd like to explain why these negative experiences might happen to show you that they're not happening due to witchcraft or the occult being evil. So to start with, just a quick summary on what witchcraft is. So witchcraft is tapping into energy, the energy of the seen world, which is the physical world, and the energy of the unseen world, which is the spirit world. And we often do this to bring ourselves guidance throughout our lives, or others guidance and healing throughout their lives, or to provide certain outcomes in our lives or the lives of others. So you can encounter both good and bad energies in the physical world and the spirit world. And if you would like to learn more in depth about what witchcraft is, I do have a video explaining this, which I will link in the description below. I do apologize for the quality of the video. It was one of my first videos, but there is some great information within it. So with this video, I do not want to create division between the religious community and witchcraft and the witches in the community. All I want to do is clear up some misconceptions about witchcraft and help you understand why these negative experiences might be happening. So, one of the first reasons that you might have negative experiences in witchcraft is actually fear. So, what will happen if you go into witchcraft with any beliefs that create fear of it is that fear will manifest itself to you in multiple ways. Okay, now I'm going to speak about the first reason why this might happen. And that's because witchcraft and being a witch is not an easy path. It requires you to essentially walk through the underworld with a lantern, defeating inner demons, outer demons, and learning how to transform darkness into light, which is why we do work with both energies. So, it will present itself to you because it could be trying, this negative experience could be trying to teach you, okay? Your guides, your spirit team might be bringing you this negative experience to see if this path is actually for you. Because, as I said, on this path, it requires you walking through the underworld, facing your fears, transforming darkness into light. So you could look at it as a kind of test when a negative experience comes to you on what you're going to do. So that's the very first reason why a negative experience might happen. And I don't want to scare anyone away from this path by speaking about that. But I just do want to let you know that if you're going into witchcraft thinking that it's just all about manifesting your dreams, but you don't have to do the work to get there, then that's just not the case. There is a lot of work, a lot of shadow work involved in witchcraft. So that might be the very first reason. So what I would urge you to do before walking this path is to do lots of shadow work. And I do intend to do a video on shadow work, explaining exactly what that is and how to do that. To do some work on these fears, okay? Especially if you're coming from a religious background, or you just have any kind of religious beliefs that say that, you know, witchcraft and the occult is evil. You want to work on those fears before you start practicing. And that's not to say that when, you know, you start practicing, they're not going to come up, but it's just to say that you will have a better understanding and better knowledge on how to deal with this when it manifests for you. Okay? So the other reason is because I think a lot of people go into witchcraft, the occult, tarot reading, you know, just thinking that it's all love and light. And essentially that is where we do want to get to, you know, through going through the darkness, we do want to get to love and light. But if you go into it a little bit naive and not knowing that there are negative things in the spirit world, just like there are in the physical world, there's, you know, good and bad people here, you're not going to protect yourself from that, okay? And so you could encounter a negative spirit because of that. And this is where, like, I would urge you to realize that just like in the physical world, you need to put up protection, you need to set good intentions if you don't want to bring anything negative in, okay? So just like you wouldn't let any person walk through your front door and into your home, it's the same whenever you're connecting with the spirit world, okay? So a lot of people may go into it just think it's love and light, not using their discernment, not realizing there can be negative things, you know, and that's not to try and scare you away from it, because like I said, by encountering these negative things, we do learn to face our fears, transform it to light, okay? And if you walk in knowing that there are negative things, you learn how to deal with them. You don't walk in naive, okay? You know that you need to protect yourself, all right? And the other thing is, because I said a lot of it is transforming negativity into light, you know, when these beings present themselves to you, that's all that you really need to do, is try and get through that fear, okay? And try and just also work through your inner demons, okay? Because it can come to you because you haven't put the protection up. It can also come to you because you haven't worked through, like, all of your inner demons, you know. But if you manage to maintain positivity and love and light when you're facing a negative entity, then you're going to be safe, okay? And yeah, as I said, I don't want to scare you away by saying that there are negative things in that world, but it is just a fact, just as there are negative things in this world, you know. But that doesn't stop us from living our life. Sorry, I digress a little bit, but basically witchcraft can be a path of encountering a lot of negative, okay? So if that's not for you, then I wouldn't suggest going into it. Like I said, if you've got any extreme fears about it, if you don't feel like you can protect yourself or don't want to deal with anything in the spirit world, then I would say not to follow the path, because most witches that I've spoken to, it is kind of like a calling, not a choice. Like, most of us have been born this way and dealing with negative energy from a very young age, okay? And that's not to say you can't come into it and learn, but I just don't want there to be any naivety coming into this path. And I also do want to say, though, that it is a beautiful path, because although you may have to deal with this darkness, the amount of healing that happens, the amount of transforming that happens, you know, is worth it in the end. It really is. It really is. You just see your life change in ways that you can't imagine. You see you change in ways that you can't imagine. You become such a strong person. It's literally like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Okay? And like I said, walking through the underworld with the lantern. All right? Eventually, you want to be the thing that the negative entity fears, right? And I also want to put to you as well, I don't believe in calling negative entities demons, because there's so much fear attached to the word demon, you know? So that in itself can create fear as well. If you just see it as a negative entity, it's just like pretty much a bully in the physical world, or, you know, worse in the physical world. But just like we can protect ourselves here, we can protect ourselves there, all right? Now, a big way to actually get through a negative experience is by looking at this negative entity as a teacher, all right? So negative energy can teach you things about yourself as well. It can teach you about your fears, right? A negative entity is actually going to know your shadow self more than you know your shadow self, okay? Because they're going to try and use those things against you. You know, any issues you might have with your relationship, any self-esteem issues, anything like that, it's going to use it against you. So whatever it is trying to use against you, you can learn from, all right? And when you look at it as a teacher, that's another way that it's also going to go, because there's nothing it can do. It can't get to you. It can't make you react in anger or react in negative energy yourself if you're looking at it as a teacher, okay? So the last reason that this might happen is because by following this path, you're actually learning a lot about your inner power, and you're becoming a lot more powerful, okay? Now, if you think of any like superhero movie, you think of the villain and the superhero, right? If the superhero just went along with what the villain wanted them to do, so say there's certain people in control of religion, right? That I believe they've put negative things in religion that aren't meant to be there. I speak about this in another video called The Great Awakening, which I'll put in the description below as well, if you're interested. But there are people within religion that kind of want to control us through fear in that religion, okay? So if we just go with them, if we just go the way they want us to, we just never realize our own power, never realize our own strength, why would they need to send negative things in, okay? Why would they need to challenge us? Why would they need to fight against us, all right? Or else if we're going the opposite path, where, as I said, we're learning our own strength, we're learning our own power, they are going to send negative things in. So it's also actually a sign that you are following a positive path, a path that can help make you strong, that can help make you powerful. You learn your inner power, you learn about your inner god, goddess energy, okay? And so another reason that these spiritual attacks, these negative experiences with negative energies and entities can often happen is because we're not in fear, and they want us to be in fear so they can control us a lot easier. Okay? It's the same thing as when people are demonically possessed. Essentially, that happens again because of a belief system. And again, like I said, I don't want to divide the two. I don't want to divide religion and witchcraft because, you know, the messages of love, positivity, connectedness in religion serve a great purpose. And I've also seen on many of these videos talking about the negative experiences that Jesus, you know, Christ consciousness showed themselves to these people. So that's why they chose to follow that path instead. Okay. Now, I do believe that the real teachings of Jesus, of the Christ consciousness, are of love and connectedness. So I do believe that, you know, in a moment of extreme fear where you felt like you just couldn't deal with what was happening, that it isn't a bad thing to go with the Christ consciousness, to go with Jesus, to feel that love from him. And, you know, if you wish to walk the path of religion, then that's your truth, that's your path that you want to follow. But I just want you to be wary that there's good and bad in religion, just like there is in witchcraft. You know, there's good and bad witches, there's good and bad religious people, okay? So I just don't want you going into it and believing everything that you read, okay? And it does really go both ways, all right? Because you may have a negative experience with one witch, but that doesn't mean that all of us are evil. We may have a negative experience with one religious person. Doesn't mean that every religious person is evil, okay? But there can be evil in both, all right? Now, another reason I chose to do this video is because I just am getting a little worried because it seems like, just like in history, there is that division between witches and religion again, okay? And we know what happened in history. We know the suffering that witches endured in history. And I just really don't want it to go that way this time, okay? I want both of us to have an understanding of each other instead of just labeling each other as bad, okay? That's what I really hope to do with this video, is just clear up any of those misconceptions between both sides, all right? And yeah, I really don't want you to think that I am judging you for walking a religious path or saying that a witch's path is difficult because we have to face darkness, so that makes it better. No. Everybody walks their own path for a reason, okay? And everybody faces fears in their own time when they're ready to. But I just do really feel like witches are called to it. It's not so much a choice because it is a difficult path, all right? And like I said, there are plenty of rewards in it. So much healing, okay? So much inner power. But don't come into it just thinking it's all going to be positive and there's not going to be anything negative, okay? So if any of these messages in this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share my channel. I will be trying to post a video once every week. I am a mum of 3, so it does get a bit difficult, but that's my goal. All right, so I actually wish to do a thank you to my spirit team as well, my ancestors, my spirit team, my gods and my goddesses, for helping me bring this information to you, because as well as knowing it myself, I do often channel from my spirit team. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.